G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome, everyone. Today I'm interviewing Victor Peña from OmniPrint Online. He's based in Orange County, just south of LA there in the United States. Thanks for your time today, Victor.
Thank you so much for having me. You know, main thing I want to do today is bring value to the audience. So I'm super pumped to be here.
Great. Thank you. Let's start with how we know each other. So 10X Stages have sent us a few guests and they've all been great. So I'm really looking forward to our chat today.
Definitely.
Tell our audience a bit about your business, what it does and how it makes money.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we empower business owners globally to thrive with their print on demand and merch. So if you have ever bought merch on Shopify, Etsy, or anything like that, chances are some of our machines are used to develop and print that merchandise. So we help these business owners do that. And our main mission is to just keep helping them grow with our equipment.
Yep. So print's still very much alive these days and still needed.
Definitely. So I come from a tech background, and printing on a T-shirt or a sweatshirt is something that's very hard to innovate around, and it's very hard to disrupt it.
Yep. And just to be clear for the audience, so you're not, or I'll ask the question, do you supply equipment to other people to provide these services, or you just provide the service to small business owners for merch and printing?
We do vertically the whole thing. So we are a development company. So we develop the machines, the software to help them sell it online. And then some clients, we will also do their print and fulfillment on demand for e-commerce.
Yep.
So we do the whole gamut, including development of our own inks.
All right, great. How did you start out?
I'm a electronics engineer by trade, and I was if you go to a hotel and you use the internet or use the printers downstairs and they charge you like an arm and a leg, I was involved in development of that technology, and that's how I got into print engines. And I noticed I really love the print industry because it's super solid. It's there's a lot of technological growth that can happen there. And then I just thought, okay, well, could we take these print engines and print on demand on T-shirts? And that's kind of how it all started.
Great. And so what year did you start the business and how old were you?
I was so it was 2004. So I was in my 20s, and I started it myself. And just a one-man band starting with that idea.
And so maybe go back a bit. You obviously studied at uni, etc. So did you have any other businesses in between this one and a corporate job or anything like that?
Yeah, so I grew up. I was originally born in Mexico, so I grew up kind of doing like odd jobs and construction kind of to help the family. Came to the States when I was 7. So the hard work and all that stuff, that part was easy, just because, and anything we do now is easy if you've worked construction before, So,
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. But, definitely it helped me with the work ethic. It helped me with dealing with customers. We deal with homeowners and all that stuff that, you're building their homes. So there's a lot of training there.
Yep. And did you have have you ever had a real job or always work for yourself?
I did. So right after school, when I graduated, I got my first tech job, and I was a technician, and that's for the company that did all of the in-room hotel internet and the business centers downstairs in the lobbies. So that I used to travel the country, Hilton's, Marriott's, all of that, setting up hotels.
Great. And in 2004, you decided to jump out on your own.
Yeah, basically it was just something that I was like, okay, I first started servicing, doing IT stuff for hotels on my own, and that transition led me to finding the print engines and stuff like that.
I must say, one of my degrees is in computing, and you've chosen, I think, the most frustrating part of IT to work in, which is printers. Home printers are the bane of my existence. I still do IT support for my extended family, and it's usually always printers. So you're a stronger man than me.
You're the guy everybody
Yep.
calls.
Well, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But
The cool thing is these are more of industrial, so they're like they belong in print shops and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely support. We have a lot of team members for tech support on how to help people use them. And yeah, that's a very interesting side of the business, I gotta tell you.
yeah. Do you have some key numbers you can share to illustrate the growth of the business over the last 19 years?
Yeah, definitely. So zero is how we started. And so 2021, we did let's see, around 16 million in revenue. Yep.
That's great. Fantastic.
Yeah.
What about number of full-time team members? Obviously started on your own. How many full-time equivalents would you have now on the team?
Around 70 team members right now.
Great. Phenomenal, Victor. That's great growth. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's an interesting time in the economy, so we have to make sure that we're always optimizing and figuring out how to grow and scale businesses.
When was the moment you felt like you had succeeded?
That's a great question. So I don't yet, you know, and I get asked this a lot, and the reality is every single time I focus every year on creating bigger goals and bigger targets, um, and I just I'm always learning, I'm always pushing, and growing to the next level, right? So right now I'm focused on becoming a better leader and running a more organized organization. So that's a new challenge.
And what does success look like to you?
Success looks like very simple right now, empowering others to win, because that makes me feel good. Makes me feel like the hard work is worth it.
Number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
Number one, you have to get known.
Hmm.
You have to get known. Marketing is the number one thing that any business should invest in, and I'm talking about go heavy on it. You know, get put it on cards, all of that, because I'll give you an example. I was always focused on having the best engineered product. Okay, because that's just I thought if I make it the best way, if I have the best widget, people will buy it. But the reality, they won't. They will buy the best known product.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I agree totally. I'm not sure if you're aware of the beta versus VHS case study. So
No.
in the 70s, Sony, the old videotapes. So I think most of our audience can remember those. In the 70s, Sony released the beta format of videotapes, which was of superior quality to VHS. But as we know, VHS dominated and beta slowly died off. And even though they had a superior product, it was a bit of a closed system and poorly marketed, whereas VHS became omnipresent because of marketing beat out a higher quality product.
Definitely. So a better marketed product will always beat a great product.
And how did you fund the business? Sounds like it's quite capital intensive.
Yeah, definitely. So I've always been about funding anything with sales. So at the beginning, I had to convince the manufacturer to build the first unit for me. And so I flew to Korea, and I ended up, having a manufacturer build the first one. The first sale that I did, the machine wasn't here yet. I pointed at an empty table, and I told the customer, just picture this machine. Um, Picture what it would do. It's going to print this many shirts an hour. It's going to look great. here's a sample that I did with the prototype once. But all I need is your money so that I can go finish building it and getting it to you. So that was the first shot at it. And people paid, I delivered, and then I just tried to be better each and every time so I could get referrals.
Yeah, that's great. That pre-sales model of funding the business growth is genius.
Yeah, especially here where we didn't start with we do manufacturing here now as well, but we didn't start by doing that. So it was all I was able to do is resell things that were created by other people, other manufacturers, and then that gave me kind of a head start to make better and products that we made ourselves and can control.
I had a mate from uni who was a couple of years younger than me, but when the GFC hit, he was based here in Australia. He quit his job, flew to the US, bought a Harley, rode around the US, and bought 50 properties, obviously at the bottom of the market, and is still in that game at the moment. Every year he spends 4 months a year over there, flipping properties. Now he's got a big focus on trailer parks. So very, very smart guy, smarter than me for sure. But yeah, I've heard property can be a really good wealth generator over there.
Definitely. If you take the main pillars of property, which is your cash flow, you have your depreciation, which is you can report a loss. So that means that you're not paying taxes on it. And then you have your appreciation. And I'm a long-term holder, so I don't sell anything. Your exit is a refinance here, which you get your initial money back and then some, and you can continue to grow and get that cash flow. So that's really important, especially if you're growing a small business and you need funding, or a bank's going to look at you. They're going to see what other businesses are you operating successfully, and what assets you have to be able to help your small business grow.
And did you take on any bank finance along the way, or investors?
Yeah, so not investors. So I do regular bank traditional financing, credit lines, stuff like that for inventory, stuff like that. I'm also heavy into real estate, so I buy multifamily real estate, and there's funding for that, commercial funding for real estate acquisitions.
Yeah, I've had a few guests on that have spoken about the multi-funding properties are a great way, obviously, to take risk out of just all your eggs in one basket in the business, take some cash out, and obviously properties are one of the staples of your investment nest egg basket. And yeah, that multi-family model keeps coming up a lot for our US guests.
Definitely, it's just a great asset to be in. I've been doing it since 2014. Take all the profit and move it to real estate, and I spend what I can get in rents. That's my strategy.
If you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
Yeah, I would. So it's a very ripe for new innovation. There's not an easy app that can come in and disrupt a printed T-shirt, and that's what I like about it.
I'm guessing over the 19 years, you would have seen a decline in demand for particularly printed material. Is that a concern for you, moving into the future?
No, so we're in the textile space. So everything print on demand textile has been growing. It's a growth market. There's only about a 6% penetration right now. So the idea is sell it first, then print and ship it.
Yep.
Versus like full scale, high volume manufacturing that's kind of dying out.
Yeah, so the subset of printing, the on-demand, has been growing. I know from talking with a few people, that model is a lot more attractive, particularly to online business owners.
Definitely. Think about it like this: you don't have to have inventory. If you have designs that don't work, you don't print them, and your machines don't care whether you print one design or another, and you're only printing it after you got paid. So there's no dead investment in inventory.
Yeah, very smart. Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so audience can learn from it?
Yeah, so I would say everything is stressful. So
Yeah.
so I I think everybody should understand the timelines of everything. Like overnight success, you should plan on it being 10 years if you want to build something real.
Yep.
So if you're impatient, if you want your Lamborghini and your jet like in a few months, this is a rough thing to do it from a small business, and also finding and retaining leaders that also want to grow and become leaders. You could focus on that a lot more, and that would be my advice.
What area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
Yeah, so leadership, 100%. Because as business owners, we know how to work hard, we know how to overwork, you know how to overlearn, you know how to be the best, right? Um, but there's no true way of uh, knowing how to be a leader, right? There's a lot of different ways of doing it, and there's a lot of different ways to motivate and lead a team. And the main thing is um, being able to attract, incentivize, develop, and retain top talent, top leaders. It's the most difficult thing that you could do.
Yep. Yep. I'm there with you on that one. What have you enjoyed the least about managing fast growth?
I'm like putting the brakes, like operational brakes on things, are necessary sometimes, and because you have different stages and different break points of growth in a business, and you could pop up in sales, and then your operation is going to break. So then you have to spend some time to repair the operational breaks, and then before you put your foot on the gas again. And then this happens at every stage in revenue. 0 to 1 million, 1 million to 3, 3 to 8, 8 to 15. So you're going to see that happen over and over again, and that's it's not an easy thing to go through every time.
What do you love most about growing a small business?
I love the freedom. I love the creativity to create, especially, I'm a huge nerd. So I like to be able to kind of get fed from what the client and the market needs. And I go straight back to the drawing board and see what kind of product I can put in the way of that need. So that's the number one thing that fires me up.
What has been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
Uh, I think the mindset shift has been the pay for access shift, because and removal of scarcity, and I'll tell you why. Growing up, we're taught to every single penny you should keep it, um, versus look at what's the best leverage that you can get on this money. And what I've realized is the best leverage is paying for access. Who has done what you want to do and done it great, and then go over there and pay them a whole chunk of money so that they can show you how to do it. And that's a big thing that really is a game changer.
Yeah, and it's hard if that's been wired into you at a young age. And I had a similar wiring, but to get over that, you get a huge return from that investment.
Definitely, and I do mentorships now and stuff like that of certain business owners that are at a revenue level, and I share with them, like, I spend easily 6 figures on my own training, about $500,000 a year, and all what I tell them is the number one thing you could do is find who you're going to lean into and pay them so that they can help you shortcut it.
Yeah. The number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
The health. I ignored my health for a long time. So now, in order for you to be better, there's a reason why people say if the plane's going down, take the oxygen mask and put it on yourself first.
Yep.
Because you can't help anyone if you don't have the energy, if you're unhealthy and all that. So every single day, I get up extra early and I focus on my health, and that's been a game changer. Every business owner needs to focus on that as soon as possible.
How far into your 19-year journey do you think you've made that change?
About 9 years in,
Yep.
because I was sleepy all the time. My energy is really low. I did so many hours, and you don't really eat much. It's mostly like caffeine, and you keep getting fatter and fatter. I'm like, man, how does this work?
I used to drink enough coffee to kill an elephant, 12 espressos a day. We got a really good coffee machine in the office. One of my business partners loves his coffee, and my God, that was bad times. I hardly slept.
Right? Yep. I love coffee myself, right? But you got to throw in the hydration, you got to throw in the right vitamins and the food and all that.
Yeah.
I ate a lot of junk food and it makes me sleepy, bottom line. So those are hard habits to break.
Yeah, absolutely.
Want to become the best manager you can be? Check out our Kick-Ass Manager course at growasmallbusiness.com. Do the course and add your fellow managers for no extra cost. Join the 30%. 70% of people quit their job because of their manager.
Can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, and advice for those listening?
People really underestimate the kind of effort that anything takes. And specifically, like, everybody has an idea, and they think that just because they have the idea, and they share it with people, it means that it's going to make it, right? So if you could focus on making things happen and giving yourself enough runway to fail a few times, that's the number one thing that's going to help you win, because winning is not just winning continuously. It's being able to keep going when you fail.
Yep.
So that's really important for people to understand right now.
Yep. And what about when you've recruited people, added them to the team? Did you nail it? You got all 70 current team members. You've never had to replace anyone. Any lessons there for the audience?
Yeah, you so you mean lie?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
No, so this is what we're doing now, right? Because look, we all start this way. I would bring in anyone with a pulse. All right,
Yep.
you're breathing.
Yep.
You're breathing. You have 2 legs, and you know what? 1.5 legs is fine too. Come on in. And then what happens is, at some point, you like there's got to be a different way, so that you can make sure that you have top talent. So what happens now? Here, it's very difficult to get hired now, because we go through like a lot of levels of interviewing, including a core values presentation. So when somebody's selected, they go to and they make a presentation about how their core values align with your business's core values.
That's great. I like that.
Yeah, so you get to see what kind of person they are when they present. You get to see, will they do the extra effort to do a great presentation? Half of those candidates we would have hired don't show up to the core values presentation because it's too much work.
Yep, that's great.
So think about it like that. You filtered out half of the people already, right? And then the ones that do get through and they do a great presentation, now I want to make sure that people are living through those core values, that they're committed, that they are inspirational, and they're fulfilling that. And I'm no longer keeping people around when they prove that they just made it through that presentation, and they're not aligning either operationally, culturally, or they don't fulfill some of those values. Whereas before, I would wait too long. I would work on them and work on them. At the end of the day, we'd have to exit them, or they leave because the pressure's too much. So do the things that it takes to properly onboard people, and then when they're not working out, just be able to exit them, because it's also better for them It's better for the team members that stay. And I'm really focused on growing the team members that are committed. And I would rather invest in them than invest in someone that's not committed.
Yes, I've certainly done that, held on to team members too long, and also suffered from the warm body syndrome. Just anyone got a pulse, get in. And it took a long time to learn by a lot of mistakes. We've just launched our Ultimate Recruitment Toolkit short course. And what you've just said there is another gate or a test. That core values presentation, I think, is brilliant. And I'm going to be adding that into our toolkit, because I'm a big fan of giving people a test project, because exactly what you just said, half the people won't even submit the test project. Others will miss the deadline, say 25% won't even make it on time. So it's 75% a cut, and then you're down to the last 25% of people that are taking the job seriously. And that is a great test project, presentation that you've just put out there, which is they have to get up and talk about how their core values align with the business. So they've got to go and do the research about the business and put some thought into their presentation. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll add one more thing to that. I'm really goal focused, and I want to be able to help people reach their goals through the organization. So we also ask them, what are these personal, professional, and financial goals, and how we can align and help them reach them. Because if they don't have goals, you could help them do it so like they could set up goals. But this is the ultimate meter. If they do have goals and they don't achieve them, and they don't work through them, and they're not doing it at all, then that this is a person that doesn't care about their own goals, and they're not going to care about your organizational goals either, right? So it's another way where you can either help somebody do that, or the type of person that you brought in.
Yeah, that's good too. I like that. And it sounds like you've got a penchant for learning and professional development. So in this corner of the business particularly, did you spend a bit of time and also invest money in finding material or people to help you build out your recruitment process to get it, much better these days?
Yeah, definitely. So I use one of my mentors, and they have a business that they do just that. They help you figure that your entire business platform. So we did a 10-year plan, and right now we're executing the operational plan, and that comes with like doing things every single week, every single day, that gets you to become a better leader, better operator, and run a better long-term business.
Yeah, fantastic. What are some of the things you recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with the growth?
Number one is the people, right? Ensuring that whoever is poisoning the culture, you're exiting them out as soon as possible, right? Because people think that culture is defined by a company or the cool stuff that's on the wall or the ping pong table. But it's really defined by every single team member, how positive they are individually, how they contribute, how hyped up they are at the morning meetings, and how they interact and spread the positivity or negativity, right? That's how culture is built. And I didn't fully understand that at the beginning. I thought it was just a bunch of BS, to be honest. But it's a thing that you have to focus on. It's a slow thing to correct. But it's definitely worth it, to have really aligned team members.
And that foundation of culture really starts with recruitment, which is the most important job a manager does, I believe. So if you get the right people on the bus, as Jim Collins coined, then culture is a lot easy to develop and maintain. If you're letting assholes on the bus, then you're going to have a hell of a time.
Definitely. And I've done my share of that. That's for sure.
Tell our audience how you've handled balance.
So I don't really believe in balance, to be honest. So I do what's called more of an integration. I do just everything. So I'm handling my business, my relationships, my health, my investing, my resting, my workations, all of that stuff is all one thing for me.
I've never heard that term, workations, but I'm going to start using it. I love it.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I love it because, for example, if I can go to a cool spot, but at the same time, I'm either looking at real estate or I'm doing something else to train and level myself up, then I could do both, and it makes me happy. The learning makes me happy. The traveling makes me happy. Same thing for my wife. We work together here. And so we're fully integrated and going aligned in the same direction.
Now, the next question you've already pretty much answered, which is a shitload of you've invested in professional development, around $500,000 a year. Any other comments on professional development?
Yeah. So I think the number one thing that I would suggest people will invest in themselves. Well, they're investing in courses and all that, but ensure that you're an applicator, not just a habitual learner. So if you keep taking courses or buying courses and not doing them, you go to events and you just get hyped up and you come back and you do nothing. You don't count that as education. Count the application, count the trying, fumbling through it. That's where you know that you're actually growing. The uncomfortableness of applying something new, and then getting like 60% of it right, and then trying it again. That's what I would say on that side.
Yeah, great advice. I do see that, particularly people starting up, they just go to a lot of stuff and then don't actually act on anything.
Definitely. So I'll give you an example of what I do now. So everybody reaches out to me. Hey, can I pick your brain? Can we do coffee? Can we? And I would give out all this advice. One of my mentors gave me his blue book on how he does it. And what I do now is just I'll qualify you and I'll say, hey, this is the way I do this is here's the wire information. This is how much. And then we'll set up a 4-hour block for you. And then whoever has the I would say the is ready to invest in themselves, then I'm ready to invest back, because I know by them making an investment, they're serious, and then secondly, they'll go and apply the advice that you're giving. And I'm not doing it just because I'm doing it because I made those mistakes before. Where I'm going to things and then I haven't even cracked the book like 6 months later.
Anything else on mentors or coaches? You've mentioned them before.
No, just a pick when you're doing mentorships, right? Just pick someone that has crushed it and has done well at what you want to do. Like, don't be the one that hires like the fat guy trainer.
Yeah.
Don't hire a broke person for your investments, that has never done it, all of that stuff. I see that so much. They just don't do it.
Do you have a board of directors or advisors?
So I use my advisor team from Cardone Ventures that's helping me with the business platforming process. As a team of 5, and obviously my top partner is my wife, and she's the one that sees things that I don't, and I take that seriously. But before I'd be like, I know everything.
Yeah.
But the reality is they can see way more.
Yeah. All right, Victor, on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
I would say aligning, developing, and retaining top leaders.
Yep, totally agree. Favorite business book which has helped you the most?
The 10X Rule. 10X Rule by Grant Cardone.
Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
So right now I'm big into like YouTube. So for example, Valuetainment's a great one. That's by Patrick David. He goes from a lot of the operational and leadership, has great guests. So that's a big one that I'm leaning into. And then secondly, a lot of Audible books. I have hundreds and hundreds of books that I go through on Audible. Right now, I'm reading the Hard Thing About Hard Things. It is a great book for business owners that are pushing their business.
Oh, I love that book. I read it years ago. When I was in New Zealand. I remember running around Christchurch listening to that book, and the favorite part of my book came up, which is, if you've got to eat shit, don't nibble.
Yep, exactly. I love it.
I'm just looking at the author. Do you remember who the author was?
It is
Got it here. Ben Horowitz.
Yeah, Horowitz.
That's it. Yeah, It's a great book.
Great book.
One tool you'd recommend to help growing a small business?
A operational system to be able to grow in a systemized way. Just pick one. There's so many, and I didn't know this, but I'm using a combination now, but anyone that you pick right now, EOS or whatever, you want to lean into that. It'll help you kind of get everything organized.
Yeah. Well, out of interest, what are you using now?
So I use the Cardone Ventures, like Brandon Dawson, but it's a mix between EOS, Jim Collins, and John Maxwell's leadership, all wrapped into like one program.
Yeah, great. Yeah, John Maxwell's great. It's a bit of leadership. Finally, my favorite question: what would you tell yourself on day one of starting out 19 years ago?
Man, that's a great question. I would say make sure that you focus on profit and growth, not just growth, and ensure that you're protecting your intellectual property since day one. And then third, build with great leaders, like build together with great leaders, and create partnerships. So those are the top three things.
Great. Thanks very much for your time today, Victor. I've really enjoyed our chat. I'm sure we could go for a couple more hours. Congratulations on your growth over the last 19 years, starting on your own to now 70 team members, around 16 million top line, and big focus on leadership and building the right team and managing and leading those. So well done. Thank you so much. I had a great time. Looking forward to being with you again. We're getting some great iTunes reviews. For those listening, please pop over to your podcast app and leave us a review.